Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing today? Glad for everyone that can make it. I'm going to be your host today, Richie T, also known as Richard T. How's everybody doing on this fine Thursday? I'm doing pretty good. Gotten back from SCG Con this past weekend. Been working, just enjoying life back to normal. Getting ready for Pittsburgh in a couple weeks, but really felt like playing some Legacy. I had a lot of fun with this deck this past weekend, so I thought I'd share it all with you guys. So before we get into the league, let's go over the deck. So this is your typical tempo deck in Legacy. This is what you think of a lot when you hear Legacy. You either think of the degenerate combo decks, or you think of decks like this. So our mana base is pretty straightforward. There's a buttload of fetch lands in here. There's Scolding Tarns, a couple Misties, Polluted Deltas, and Flooded Strands, because that way we're playing around Pithing Needle. But we do need all our Tarns since we also fetch out basics. For our dual lands, we have 3 Volcanic Islands. Can't go home, can't play Legacy without them. They fix your mana so well. And then on top of that, we have 3 basics. We have an island, a snow-covered island, and a mountain. Now, you're probably wondering why we're running, a snow-covered and a normal island. Why not just run one of each, or 2 of one? The reasoning is because there's this card called Predict that gets played in this format. And while typically they won't predict you, if they do, you just don't want them to have any chance of hit. You want them to have as little chance of hitting as possible, so splitting your basics like this is a way to help. And then we have 4 Wasteland to try to stumble our opponent's mana and also make some of our free counter magic better. On top of lands, the other thing Legacy is known for is their cantrips. We have really powerful cantrips compared to other formats. Even Vintage, I think our cantrips might be slightly better, where we get to play 4 Brainstorm, 4 Ponder, and we're on 2 Preordain just because we want a little extra consistency in our deck. But Brainstorm from times you'll see can potentially be an Ancestral Recall when you put back 2 bad cards and drew 3 really good ones. Ponder can also work as a little shuffle effect like Brainstorm. And then Preordain is just the next best cantrip. That's why we have 2. Next we have our removal spells. Obviously 4 Lightning Bolt. No one's going home without them. We got a 1 of Forked Bolt for against the other DelvUR decks, where there's a lot of 1 toughness creatures. We have a 1 of Chain Lightning, which potentially could be 2 if you really are worried about this deck in specific, because of Dreadhorde Arcanist, which we'll get to in a minute. And a 1 of Vapor Snag. I always like to have 2 Vapor Snags in my 75 of Blue-Red DelvUR, just as potential answers to Merit Lage. It can be really tricky to deal with that card otherwise. So moving on to the threats, we have 4 DelvUR. He's been tearing up every format ever since he's gotten printed. 2 True Name Nemesis, arguably a card that should be banned in Legacy for its power level. It's just so many games revolve around True Name when you cast it that it's kind of crazy. And you have to play specific cards that you might not play otherwise because you have to deal with the True Name Nemesis. We have a 1 of Grim Lavamancer for against the grindy decks or against other small creature decks. 3 Young Pyromancer, since we will be casting a lot of spells, we can go wide. And then the new card of the deck, and the card that's probably impressed me the most in a long time, is Dreadhorde Arcanist. So this is a new card from War of the Spark. It's a red and a colorless for a 1/3 with trample. Now whenever it attacks, you can target an instant or sorcery and you can cast it if its converted mana cost is equal to or less than Dreadhorde Arcanist power. So we don't have any ways to buff this to cast like some 2-drops that we have in the deck, but that's why you see most of our spells that we'd want to cast off it are 1 mana. So we get an extra Lightning Bolt, we get an extra Forked Bolt, we get an extra Vapor Snag, we get extra cantrips, which Death and Taxes used to be a pretty tough matchup. This card I felt makes the matchup a lot better for us. And it also just secured the Miracles matchup. Because if they don't answer this card, they're just going to get buried by it. And then on top of that, the other thing Legacy is known for is its counter magic. We have 2 Spell Pierce, which has been appearing more and more in Legacy It's just a really efficient counter spell. But then we have what Legacy is known for, the free counter spells. We have 4 Days, which is a tempo card. You won't see it in many control decks because bouncing a land matters in those. But you'll see Force of Will in pretty much all your blue decks. It's the way to stop most degenerate combos, and is also just a super powerful card. But as you'll see, if we get into a fairer matchup, like against other Delver decks, these are typically the first cards that come out. Moving on to the sideboard, I have it separated by counter spells, counter/removal spells, because Pyroblast is an interesting one, removal, and then your heavy hitters. So for extra counters, we have 2 more Flusterstorm for against the combo decks, and also coming in the mirror because Flusterstorm is just a hard card to deal with. We have 2 Pyroblasts for destroying troublesome blue permanents, such as maybe a Flip Delver, a Counterbalance, or also countering things like True Name Nemesis. We have a 1 of Blazing Volley as our sweeper in this deck. You used to see Rough and Tumble in Blue-Red Delver, but now that we're on Young Pyromancer, Rough and Tumble is kind of awkward with it, so Blazing Volley is the next best option. 2 of Braids for destroying artifacts or just a little extra creature removal, and then that second Vapor Snag for, like I said, dealing with things like Merit Lage or like a Batterskull token. Next are heavy hitters. We have 1 Grafdigger's Cage and 2 Surgical Extractions for the graveyard decks. We have 1 Null Rod for the artifact decks, as well as Stoneforge Mystic. 2 Blood Moons for the greedy mana bases, since we do play basics. And that's one of the biggest draws to this deck, is the fact that we do play basics in this deck. And then a 1 of Narset Partner Veils. She has been extremely powerful in my opinion. Like, landing her almost changes the game in general. It'll turn your Miracles opponent into like a standard deck almost, while you still get to keep playing these powerful spells that Legacy is known for. So that's the deck, but before we get on to the matches, I got one more thing we got to talk about, and that's our sponsor. Mom's Basement Games.TCG Player Pro is the one-stop shop if you need anything for any format, standard, modern, legacy, vintage, whatever you could use. Your Ashiok if you're trying to play her in Green-Black Rock, Llanowar Elves for your standard decks, Tibalt for your standard red decks, or Mobilized District for the sweet Planeswalker brews. Mom's Basement Games has you covered. As well, all of you guys watching in the YouTube, all the links I'm talking about are in the description box below. Please check them out, and thank you for watching. But also try to check our Twitch stream out sometime while we're live. As well as all of you guys on Twitch right now, thank you. But I would also appreciate it if you liked us on Facebook, followed us on Twitter at Mom's Basement MTG, and also checked out our YouTube channel, where we have the best standard, modern, legacy, vintage, pauper, and commander content. On top of that, I would super appreciate it if you gave me a follow on Twitter. My Twitter's at RichardTMTG. I talk about Magic, League of Legends, memes, really anything else anyone would like to talk to me about. On top of that, the Mom's Basement Games Instagram, and my own Instagram, RichieT2196. I'd super appreciate it if you guys came and gave us a follow on Instagram. But, that being said, let's hop into the league, shall we? Try to find ourselves some match. This is my first time with the new Moto, so hopefully it's not too different. Okay, I like that it hops us right into the game. Controls are still the same, good to know. And we won the die roll, which is awesome. This hand's fine. It's nothing to write home about. We can hopefully preordain into a threat. We have Daze and Force for disruption, as well as Chain Lightning. It's not one I'm huge on, but it's not one I'd like to ship back either. Our opponent mulligans to 6 and then keeps. So here, I want to save this fetch land, so I think we're going to just lead on a Volcanic Island and then cast Preordain. Misty Force, not really in the business for more lands or more counter magic. We're really looking for a threat. I'll take a Brainstorm, though. Brainstorm's a solid card. Our opponent goes Basic Island into Ponder. Sure. Probably like a Miracles deck is my guess. Could be the Mirror match also. Alright. Our opponent's passing us back through priority. We drew another land here. So a lot of people say that you're not supposed to cast Brainstorm aggressively in these decks. But I feel in this style of Delver it is. Unfortunately, we drew a couple extra lands, which wasn't really what we were looking for. But we did draw that threat that I wanted. So I think we're going to put these lands back, play our Scolding Tarn and pass. And set up to play Dreadhorde with a lot of protection. Scolding Tarn. Okay, maybe this is the mirror then. I'm going to just go ahead and try to fetch here at their end step. Alright, it works. Since we have this other fetch, I kind of just want to get basics in case this is the mirror. Okay, we drew another land. Not quite what we wanted. So we're going to go ahead and play this Scolding Tarn and then attempt our Dreadhorde. We have Force or Daze backup, whichever we end up needing. And if we can start getting value out of this card with this extra fetch land, that'd be great. I think I'm fine with this Brainstorm. Our opponent can storm up their brain if they'd like. Okay, and they choose not to fetch. That means they wanted their extra card. Interesting. Terminus, that makes sense. So it is Miracles. We unfortunately don't have anything to disrupt this, but hopefully we can counter it. We're going to attempt to force this, pitching our Daze. And our opponent did have the force back, unfortunate. Pitching counterspell. So yep, now this just happens. We do have a target for our Wasteland, which is going to be pretty good. We'll just get one of those Tundras right away. More cantrips from our opponent's end. Hopefully we can find another threat here. That's what we're really looking for. Lavamancer's fine. It's not quite the best threat, but it'll suffice. I want to hold this Misty in case we draw another Brainstorm or another Arcanist for it. Our opponent has the swords. That's unfortunate. Another land. We're going to just hold both of them. Again, we can Brainstorm lands away because we have the fetch land in play if we draw it. So they're the red splash, notable. Okay. So we got burn spells for if they ever go to play like a Jace or a creature. I think we're both just playing Drago. Yikes. Another land. So here I think I'm fine just playing a land drop out since Brainstorm can only put 2 cards away. But we're not going to fetch anyways. But we might want the extra land. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to play one of these and pass back. If we draw a Dreadhorde, we could always Brainstorm again because we have the one in the graveyard, but I feel like it's better to just play the second land there. Okay. That's a potential threat. Also very synergistic with our fetch lands. Oof. So we got the snap plow, unfortunately. So I'm going to go ahead here and just... Actually just going to let this resolve. I'll bolt the Snapcaster on our turn. We can use our life total as a little bit of a resource here. I'd rather not let them play a mentor. Yikes. So this is looking pretty unfortunate for us. We had a lot of turns where we just didn't draw another threat, so this counterbalance might just bury us. I'm gonna hit the Volk. It's unlikely they have anything that red matters in the main, but I'd rather just hit it because they can definitely fetch up a plains with this flooded strand. Yep. As you see, the power of cantrips, their draws were a lot more superior than ours, even though we did have our cantrips. This also wasn't one of the better hands for this matchup, unfortunately. The bolts stay in because of cards like Monastery Mentor, but they're not optimal early game. You really want to draw more threats. Okay. So we're going to bait this counterbalance with this Chain Lightning so we can see if it's a 1-drop. Okay. So we know they have a mentor on on top, so I'm going to cast this here, force them to crack this fetch. Hopefully they don't hit another 1-drop. They hit a Jace. That's good for us. Yikes. We just hit a bunch of counter spells, though. But they are better than all these lands, so I think we're going to just put these 2 lands on top. And now we have to pass back, unfortunately. That means we do have an answer to this Jace the Mind Sculptor, though. Yikes. Yeah, I mean, I guess we just have to force this. We'll pitch the Daze. Wow, they had another force on top. That's really unfortunate for us. So we can fetch our dual lands here. They don't play Wasteland in their deck. We know they have force on top, so I can feel free to ponder here. Try to find a threat. Okay, those are in fact threats. So, it's unfortunate because they're just going to keep getting bounced. But I think we just have to go for it. We're definitely behind this game, though. And then he's probably going to plus Jace. Bottoms that card. So we're going to just go ahead and fetch here. If you're wondering why I didn't force, it's because Teferi doesn't let me. Not the optimal draw here. If this gets countered, I'm probably going to concede. Okay, it resolves, so still pretty unlikely we can come back, but we'll give it a turn or two here. Okay, our opponent chooses to brainstorm. Okay, we'll see what we draw here. Yeah. Unfortunate. I think this matchup's pretty good for us. Our opponent hit a lot there, though. as usual, we're going to just shuffle everything in and sort by CMC. Blood Moons aren't good here. Null Rod isn't particularly good. The Abrades are fine. I like Days on the Play. Fluster's pretty good here. Spell Pierce is good. Vapor Snag, Surgicals, this Blazing Volley aren't very good. I like all of our bolts, and I like our Pyroblasts. Typically, I take Force out in this matchup. Force is fine, but I'd rather just have like the Dazes on the play, and then I'll bring in the Forces on the draw. I'm trying to remember. I played this matchup a couple times. I think I'd rather have like the Abrades and the Chain Lightning. Maybe not the Abrades. Maybe Forces are better than like the Abrades. But I think I'd rather have all the bolts and the Pyroblasts. I think I like this. I could maybe see taking out some Preordains for the Abrades. Or for the Forces. Probably the Forces, but I think I'd rather just have cantrips. Yeah, I think we're probably going to just run it like this. Give this the old shot. I would love to be on the play. Yikes. Can't keep this one. This hand's fine. Little land heavy, but it'll do. We have a good play on one. Yeah, I think I'm in for a ponder. It'll just increase our deck's consistency. So we're going to start with Island, Delver, and Paths. Alright. Our opponent appears not to have an interaction. Yes, I would like to reveal Ponder to my Delver. Play our land for turn. Attack for 3. Get it. Then we'd like to ponder. Ooh. So we can fetch away this land when we don't want it. But I'm really in for this young Pyromancer. So next turn, if we don't have to fetch, we can just go like Pyromancer and then have Bolt or... If this is the Swords, though, I'm pretty happy fetching away the Bolt and getting to Spell Pierce this. Would obviously like to use my spells post Pyromancer, but I think it's important to keep our clock in play. I actually think we might not even play this Pyromancer. Because of the preordained draw, I think it might be fine. What did they do with that? They chose not to shuffle. I really want this second threat, but I really want value off this preordain also. So I think we're going to just do it. Oh. There's a chance we just get... This feels really bad, but I want to bottom both of those, unfortunately. If we get Terminus here, it feels really bad. Okay, we didn't get Terminus, though. Increased our clock by quite a bit, though, this way. Maybe not through his swords, but... Still nice to have the Pyromancer in play. Okay. They choose to go for the Pyromancer. 12, 16 verse, 3, 6, 9. Interesting. If they killed the Delver, it saved them a turn. So we don't have anything to Wasteland, so I think we're just going to hold it and pass. Alright, our opponent passes back. We draw a Brainstorm. This is going to be one of those times where we hold the Brainstorm, though. We just don't really have anything we're looking for. So I'd rather just have it for when we need it in a pinch. We have our opponent dead in a turn, so sure, go ahead and ponder. Probably digging for an answer here. In which case we can dig back. So I think we're going to Pyroblast this one. Well, yeah, Brainstorm's really powerful. And them casting a cantrip into another cantrip tells me that they're desperate. So we're going to attack. If this attack goes through, I'm not actually going to bolt them right away. I'm going to pass back. And I know this may seem weird, but we're pretty safe around counterspells because of the Brainstorms. Okay. They just concede even. Yeah. So back on the draw, like I said, I'm going to be bringing these forces in and taking these Dazes out since Daze has diminishing returns. And I think I'm fine not having a Braid. We have a lot of ways to kill Monastery Mentor. So I think I like running it like this on the draw. Daze is just really awkward on the draw because they're always going to have that land drop on you. Tour Force isn't great in fair matchups, but I think I'd rather have Force than Daze because it's more likely to be able to counter a Terminus, which is the card we super care about from them. Gonna submit it on in. Sorry, I know my voice is a little meh right now. That's because I was at a concert on Tuesday. This hand's great. 3 threats plus a Pyroblast. So with this hand, we can lead on Delver, and then turn 2 play another Delver with Pyroblast backup. And then we can Dreadhorde with Pyroblast backup. So this hand is very good in this matchup. Okay. Another land wasn't quite what we were looking for, but it's not the worst. I think we're going to just go ahead and start by fetching an island, just in case they do play, well, yeah, we can fetch an island. Just in case they play a card like Back to Basics, I'd rather just be protected. As usual in these blue decks, you really don't want to F6 too much if you don't have to. Is this just a Pyroblast of their own? Sure. As mentioned, they have the Red Splash. Interesting that they play a basic mountain, though. That's not too common in the Miracles lists. That tells me that especially they might be a Back to Basics deck. But I wouldn't be surprised if they board out Back to Basics since we play so many. Okay. Force would have been good last turn. We could have protected our Delver, but not a big deal. We'll just play this one and pass it back. Again, Brainstorm is just so powerful. I want to fight over this. This time, I think we're going to just grab the mountain again. We're not really color restrained, but again, I just don't want to lose to my opponent potentially having back to basics. Okay, we snagged the Brainstorm, which is good. Delver trigger, do we flip? No, we have a young Pyromancer. Interestingly enough, I'm not sure which threat I want to play. I've had this debate a lot when I play this deck, actually. When I want to run out an extra threat, which would I rather run out? And then there's also just the question of, do I run another one out? Because we're against Miracles. I kind of want a threat that doesn't get Pyroblasted. And with the way our graveyard is, I think Pyromancer will probably be better than this Dreadhorde. So we're just going to play a Scolding Tarn, attempt a Dreadhorde, and then pass. The trick with Delver and Fetch Lands is really cool. It's like a pseudo Scry. Yeah. Can't counter this one. I'm going to set a stop in my upkeep to make sure it doesn't go through the Delver trigger. Interesting. I wonder what our opponent's hand is. Grim Lavamancer. So I'm not going to reveal. And I think we are just going to go ahead and fetch. And grab ourselves a Volk this time. Yikes. Did not really want another land. Again, we're going to... I really would like to... I got to figure out how to not cast this on Moto. Okay. It's pretty easy. Cool. Sorry, this is my first time playing with Dreadhorde on Moto. So I assume we're going to get the 2 in. And then I would like to hold this for a Brainstorm, but I'd rather have it as a Scry right now. We really need spells. And this is kind of the downside to our draw, as you're seeing. Yeah, they hit the Terminus. Unfortunate. We were a turn off from hard casting Force, too. Not much we can do about it, though. That's the reason why we didn't run out the young Pyromancer, though, is so we have another threat. The Lavamancer would have been good, though, here. We can always fetch to put them back into our deck, too. Which I think is what we're going to do. It does increase the consistency of our draws, so... Okay. Can ponder off this young Pyromancer now. Wasteland, Delver, Forked Bolt. I'm in for the Delver. I'm not going to play it. But I want to draw it. And I'll leave this... Maybe I do want to play it because I know the Forked Bolts. No, because I want to hold up Force. Yeah, we're just going to pass. I'd rather hold up Force of Will for something exactly like this. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have Force back. Because I did mess up by not playing this land. I meant to play the land in case we didn't want to draw the Forked Bolt, but yeah. Unfortunate. That was a slight mistake by me. Oh my god, I just have to do my turn. Fuck me. I just totally misclicked through my turn. Wow, that was so bad. Need to just play slower. I have plenty of time. I wouldn't have drawn that wasteland. That was so bad on me. Okay. And we can likely kill a planeswalker if we need to. I'm so sorry about that, guys. That was really bad on me. I shouldn't have drawn either of these cards. And now we're just like super behind because of it. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. I think that's our line. As bad as it feels, but they only have 2 cards in hand. I just need them to not be able to bounce my Dreadhorde. They have a swords, don't they? Yep. Rip. May as well hold this Forked Bolt now in case they draw a Mentor. Yeah, I think this is I think this matchup's actually, and I think it's in DelvUR's favor. But I also haven't played this. Like I drew 2 dead cards, one just because of a misplay and one because of a misclick. And so I think it is really costing me here. Okay. One and one. Hopefully they don't have the counter for this. It's not a huge deal if they do. They have another swords. That kind of stinks. I did go the distance with a 1/1 before, but I had a lot more burn in my deck at that point. Okay, that's a good sign for us, though. They only have 2 cards in hand, and their Teferi went down, so... Okay, we can hard cast that, so... They still have not fetched a non-basic for us to hit, so... Now it's up to this little elemental that could. I believe in him. Do you all believe in him? I believe that you guys believe in him. Just like I believe in him and you. Okay, another Peasy. Man, it's super weird. I don't even want to play this Pyromancer because I just want to hold force up. Like, we both just have a lot of good draws in our deck. But I am the one pressuring right now. Okay. Ponder kind of sways those odds now, though. So I think we're going to attack. And then I think we're going to Pyromancer Ponder. The old Snapcaster Mage. Feels bad. They've drawn a lot of swords here, too. Yep, bye-bye, Pyromancer. You lived a good life. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think the play is draw this Pyroblast. And Pyroblast either whatever, if they play like a Jace or something, Pyroblast it. Please don't have like, thank God. I was gonna say, please don't have like Force Blue card as your last 2 cards in hand. And now we can attack him for 2, play this DelvUR, and have Force of Will up. So we might be able to turn the corner here. Hey, what's up? Huzzah, dude. So we're gonna play this. Use our island. We have Force of Will up now. Now I do know we want to fetch before. This is a J Supreme Verdict. Ugh. Alright. Yeah, like what cards? Well, we can't Force of Will that one, unfortunately. I fetched there because I don't want to draw that other Wasteland. I really just want to draw threats. Scalding Tarn is in fact not a threat. Interesting. I wonder why they're choosing to fetch here. Did they fail to find? No, they found another island. That was an interesting decision. Unless their plan is just to time me out. Interesting choice to fetch there. I mean, we're forcing any threat, so that is in fact a threat. Okay. That's one of the best draws we had in our deck. True name, choose you. Okay. Can True Name go the distance? Okay, Counterbalance does not deal with True Name Nemesis, so. Alright. Attack for 3. You're on a 3-turn clock. Play this fetch in case we have to brainstorm. Oof. Yeah, Blood Moon is not a nice card. Trust me, I'm playing it right now. It's not in my deck currently, but it's in my sideboard. I didn't know Blood Moon was on Arena, by the way. Alright, True Name, you're doing God's work, bud. And this is what I mean. The game revolves so much around a True Name Nemesis. Like, my opponent didn't have the counter for it, and, like, this game turned completely. Ah, gotcha. Red-Green Dinos is sweet. If you're interested in watching some VODs on the deck, Mike played some Red-Green Dinos on Arena for when we did Dino Week. Opponent getting upset in chat. I'm just going to tell him, like, it's alright, dude. I also flooded out. I would have liked that True Name way sooner. Trust me. But we got there. We're 1-0. And And that's kind of how this deck do sometimes. Like, sometimes you just gotta hope to top deck better than your opponent. Especially once you guys use all your resources. Which is exactly what you've seen with, like, Force of Will there. That's why Force of Will isn't great in fair matchups, but I think it's better than having something like Daze in our deck. And Force is just about the same as a Braid for Mentor, except Force can do a little more. We did lose the die roll this time, which is unfortunate. Our opponent chooses to be on the play. And this is a fine hand. We need to find a red source, but we have Ponder and Brainstorm to find it. We have Wasteland for if they're a greedy mana base. And we have a good threat with Force, so we're going to keep this. We do need to find a little bit of something, though. Our opponent mulliganed and kept their 6. Are you going to be at Pando's MCQ by chance? Yeah. Oh yeah, I can imagine. I feel like you're a little too mid-rangey for against like the mono red decks. Our opponent chose not to shuffle. So we have two options here. We can either go for the Ponder and try to find our red source, or we can try to wasteland them and then force their play. Because they kept with this, I don't really like that play. I think we're just going to go Ponder and try to lead on our advantage also. Okay, so there's our red sources. I'm kind of in for this Lightning Bolt too in case they're Infect. So I think we're going to go... Well, no, wait, this was our turn 1. Yeah, so we're going to go boom, boom, boom. I would not like to shuffle. And then we'll pass back. I assume we're probably against, like, Infect. Could potentially be something like Check Pile or Sultai. Yeah, you really need your mana dorks in that deck, that's for sure. Okay. So our opponent is Teamer something or Renin 6. Okay. So this is the deck that Aaron played on stream, I believe. The Check Pile deck with Renin 6. I'm going to go ahead and try to Daze that. Whoa. Our opponent's also playing Daze. Interesting. So I'll choose not to pay for Daze. But then we're going to go ahead and force pitching this Brainstorm. Since we kind of have everything we want. But I'd really... Oof. Our opponent had 2 Dazes. Yikes. Yeah, this Renin 6 is going to get him a lot of value now, too. This card is so powerful in Legacy. Because this format's so much about, like, it's so much about tempo. Yep. So, even though Renin 6 can just kill our our Grim Lavamancer, I'm going to still go ahead and play it. Because... Oh, I can't even get Basic Mountain here. That stinks. I really would have liked to have gotten Basic Mountain in case of Wasteland. But we're going to go ahead and play this Grim. They have 2 cards left. Are their last 2 cards really Force blue card? If so, that's a yikes. Okay. So hopefully they minus on our Lavamancer. Yep. Next turn we can bolt it, Wasteland. And, oh no, please let me draw a red source. Please, red source. Alright, yeah, we're not winning this game. That was absurd. The fact that our opponent had double days was crazy. Yeah, Blood Moon is super good. Alright. So against... This is like a check pile deck with a Renin 6. Null Rod does not seem very good. Abrades don't seem very good. I like Daze because we're on the play. I'm actually... As much as like Force was decent, or looked decent that game, I don't think Force is very good in these matchups. Surgicals and Blazing Volley are not very strong. Grafdigger's Cage doesn't stop running 6, right? Nope. And we have 4 more cards to cut. Vapor Snags aren't great. And then we have 2 more. I think I might have had these in against Miracles. And I think these should have been the Abrades, actually. Yeah, that's what... You should be able to use Stream Deck around the side of the screen if it'll help you follow. What are our last 2 cuts? We can probably trim like this Forked Bolt. Then probably just like one of the Preordains. This is what I mean where, like, against our opponent... Actually, I don't think Narset's going to be very good in this. So I think I'd rather have this Preordain than Narset. In case we have to try to help find more lands. I think we're going to run something like this. I could maybe see wanting Force over Fluster. But Fluster can win so many counter wars by itself. I would like to be on the play, and I would like to keep this hand. It's a really solid hand. We're going to lead on a Volk, even though we could potentially get Wastelanded. Because I don't super care if our opponent sets themselves back at this point. I'd rather just save the fetch for Brainstorm. Lead on this here Delver and say go. There's the Wasteland like I was talking about. But this is fine. We still have our Delver, and they basically just time walk themselves. I would not like to reveal Scalding Tarn. Our Delvers have not been very flippy today, I've noticed. So here we're going to attack for 1. And since we drew another land, I'm fine playing a fetch land out this time, since we drew another fetch. Aaron said that the deck the opponent's playing is very good. I'm not sure if it's the same list or not, but any Renin 6 shell is probably very strong. The card just seems kind of absurd. Okay. Interesting. Probably like a lightning bolt. I would like to flip my Delver to bolt. Not a bolt. Curious as our opponent's reasoning to fetch there. I think we're still going to try to blow up their land, though. Stifle. Okay, that makes sense. Probably playing around our own stifles. Yeah, you can go ahead and stifle that. That's fine. So that was essentially a land, like, getting to counter our land drop that turn. Our opponent seems to be really big on the mana denial plan. I'm actually curious if this is Aaron's list, so I'm going to hop over to our stream decker and check his list out that he played. Alright, yeah, I didn't think that it was the same exact list Aaron was playing. Aaron's list didn't have any dazes or anything like that. Oh, our opponent's like a Teamer Delver deck. Okay. Sure. I'm fine with this. And then I'm going to go ahead and bolt this after fetching a basic mountain. Our mana is just getting pretty constrained, so I need to do this on their turn. Okay, they have the daze. Interesting that our opponent left in daze. Typically, daze comes out on the draw. So I'm going to start by attacking for 3. And it's really awkward. I want to use this for Brainstorm, but I think it's more important to get this Dreadhorde down and not get myself wastelanded out of the game. Go ahead. Will their Delver flip? It will. They are much luckier than us. Gosh, and it flipped a bolt. That's like the worst case. These wastelands have been super good against us too. Okay. We'll just go ahead and take down their Delver. Get in with ours. And pass it back. I'm not really interested in using this Brainstorm. I don't think I sideboarded right for the Delver matchup. I should probably have like this Narset in via Braids. I just didn't really know I was in a Delver mirror. The Forked Bolt for sure. Maybe Blazing Volley, but that one's a maybe. Frank's down here playing with his toys, playing with her toys. Frank is Josh's dog. Tropical Island. And another Delver. Yeah, that's fine. We can try to find an answer to it next turn. Okay. I almost like just running that out here, to be honest. So we get to attack for 3. And I'm going to just leave the island up in case we want to Brainstorm. But I really want to get this Dreadhorde in play. Because the Dreadhorde can just... Dreadhorde just takes over games. It's kind of crazy. He's kind of like another True Name almost. Our opponent hits Ponder. Okay. Teamer Delver with Renin 6 really does seem interesting though. He just really helps push the land destruction theme of the deck. wonder what our opponent cut. Probably like Tarmogoyf is my guess. Did our opponent find a removal spell off that ponder is the question. They chose the shuffle, so it's possible they didn't. Opponent's really in the tank about what to do here. Meanwhile, while our opponent's in the tank and potentially pulling up our stream, I'm going to hop over to my Twitter and find my giveaway while I scroll down. So we will be giving away... Huh. Wonder where it went. I might have posted it somewhere else. But we are giving away, as you can see... Okay, our opponent's choosing to Wasteland. That's fine. As you can see here on our starting soon screen, we're giving away a Sliver Queen this month. And the way that we will be giving it away will be on our podcast that Josh and I do now, which you can also see here, The Magic in the Making. That's a podcast that Josh and I do together every Monday. And the way you can enter is by following us. Everybody who follows this channel will get an entry. But on top of that, if you subscribe to our Twitch channel or donate to our Patreon, you can also earn an extra giveaway through those. So you can earn up to 3 entries. What's our opponent got here? Did they really stifle? Okay. We're going to try to brainstorm here. Yikes. That's unfortunate for us. I think we're going to just put back these brainstorms. So what this does mean, though, is our opponent's going to 2 and this Lavamancer is lethal. It's been an interesting game, that's for sure. Lavamancer's has always been super good to me. Alright, and we got that game. So we're going to game 3 where we're going to be on the draw on the DelvUR Mirror. Not a big Force fan in the DelvUR Mirror. I'm not a big Daze fan in the DelvUR Mirror. Not on the draw anyways. I like Daze, just not on the draw. The fact that they have something like Renin 6 maybe means I need to consider this differently. So we have 3 more cuts. Vapor Snag doesn't seem great here. And I normally like trimming Preordain. So I actually think we're probably going to want Force. It's super not good in the DelvUR Mirrors, but I think it's fine to maybe even just hedge 1. I'm never going to want to force a turn 1 DelvUR. That's why I think I might want the Abrades more. But we didn't see another threat, so maybe they're just on DelvUR and Rens. I could maybe see trimming a Pyromancer. But I think we want all of our threats. Man, this is super tricky. Renin 6 makes this matchup kind of hard to sideboard in. I think we're going to board out Flusters for extra forces, which I would almost never condone in the DelvUR Mirror. But the fact that they have Renin 6, I think we might really need Force of Will to be able to get out from under it. And then I think I'm a fan of everything else. The only debate is if this, like, Narset's better than the 4th Force of Will. And I think it is. You really just want to be threat heavy on a Delver Mirror. The only other consideration is if a Pyro... 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Our blue count's pretty low. Maybe I want to bring in an extra spell. But none of our blue spells are that great. Alright, I'm going to... No, I'm not going to do this, actually. That seems really bad. Because Pyromancer can just make immediate value. Maybe these Abrades aren't as good as, like, a Preordain. Yeah, we're going to try it like this. I'm not sure if this is correct or not, though, but it's what we're going to try. So Brainstorm's supposed to fix all sins. We have double Wasteland against a deck that looks like it doesn't play basics. So I think we're going to go ahead and keep this. We can maybe just try to legacy them out of the game. Yep, you have your turn 1 Delver. Ooh, speaking of locking them out of the game. So I'm going to go ahead and just Wasteland them here. Because I don't really have an answer to this Delver, and I think it's better than just Brainstorming. Delver flips to Flusterstorm. So we're going to end up taking a bunch of damage here, but we're going to keep playing this Wasteland game, I think. If they have the Stifle, that's really unfortunate for us, but we don't really have much else to do anyways. Okay, they just bolt us, that's fine. We might even be able to run them out of red sources by doing something, by doing this. Okay, it looks like they don't have a land drop now, so that's how we can get back into this game. We're going to take a lot of early damage, but... Okay, they only have a Wasteland now. Good. We drew Force. Delver might just be able to go the distance, though. We'll see. We really need to find a removal spell. Okay. We can play around Wasteland really well. Cast this Brainstorm. That's not the greatest. So I really don't want to draw... I don't want all of these lands. But I really need to flip this Delver so I can block. Because I think that's how we get back into this game. So I think we have to put... Volk. What if we just put Force on top? No, I think we want to put Volk Force on top. No, we can't put Volk. We got to put a fetch land away. So we put fetch land, Force of Will on top. Play the Volk, which we know is going to get wastelanded, but we're fine with. And then play our Delver. I just really got to hope I brainstormed right there, but I'm pretty sure I did. Yep, there goes our land. And then we're going to go down to 5. This Blood Moon is awkwardly good for them here. But I might try to set up a way to play it here in a couple of turns. Another wasteland from them. Okay, here's hoping I set this up right. Okay, good. Yes. Okay. So now we can fetch the mountain and play the Dreadhorde. And then after this we can wasteland them wasteland their wastelands. and set up to take this game over. We took a lot of early damage, though. We're at 4, which is kind of scary in the Bolt Mirror. Okay. Another Dreadhorde's good. So I'm going to just play this Wasteland and pass, because I don't want to let them know the plan. And if I can, if they play a colored source, I'd rather be able to Wasteland it. We really just need to draw like a Bolt or something. Ooh, we have this Brainstorm in the yard, but we don't have a fetch land. Might even be right to just Brainstorm. Because this Blood Moon is like kind of medium, if we're being honest. It shuts them off green and blue, but it gives them red mana. That's why, like, maybe we just Wasteland them, but maybe we just don't. Maybe we just Brainstorm this away. Well, that means that they drew another land for sure, right? Yeah. We do have the forces, and we'll get to Wasteland this. Yeah. I think we're forcing this. Hoping they don't have another counter spell. Okay. We just want to keep control of the board, even though now we're at 3 and dead to a lightning bolt. Yikes. Okay. So we're in a Wasteland. That seems like a super early concession, but we did keep our opponent off red mana by doing that. So maybe not. All right, so we're 2-0. You've seen the power of Wasteland that game. So yeah, mana disruption, especially in the Delver Mirror, is super powerful. That's part of the reason I really like 2 Blood Moon in the sideboard of this deck. They even have like Ren and 6, but it just wasn't enough. Sorry for all the stretching and stuff. I'm still sore from Tuesday, oddly enough. I just also haven't slept very well. But yeah, I really love this deck. It feels really solid with Dreadhorde in it now. He's just a lot more of a must answer than anything we've played before, like Terramander or any of the prowess threats. Lost the die roll again, unfortunately. Our opponent moles. This hand's not great, but I'm not one to typically mulligan a hand with a cantrip in it. Old Island, Ponder. So, could be Miracles, could be the Mirror, could be Storm. Probably Miracles, if I had to take a guess. Miracles is probably the most popular option. They choose not to shuffle, and we draw an island, so that's fine. We will also ponder off a basic island. Ooh. So I like all of these cards. But I think the play is going to be Dreadhorde next turn with Force of Will back up. So we're going to just draw the Force and pass in case we need it. And then we also have the Dreadhorde on top to play next turn. Okay. So that means it's probably not Storm. That leads me to either the Mirror Miracles again. And it is in fact Miracles. So since we have this Force, I'm kind of down to just fetch and play this Dreadhorde. Hopefully they don't have the swords, but it's pretty likely they do. Once again, I'm going to just play it safe because we have enough mana and lands in hand that we can fetch this second basic and play around. Okay, so there's the swords. So yeah, we are going to go ahead and try to force this. And it works. Cool. We're unfortunately not drawing that Brainstorm, but I figured the Force of Will would help protect this better. Preordained by our opponent. If we get to attack, we get to Ponder, which will be really nice. Wonder what our opponent's got here. Maybe another cantrip. Yep. Probably just digging for that second Swords to Plowshares. Opponent's thinking. That means they might have a Terminus in there. That'd be my guess with how the tank happened. They chose not to shuffle and it's not dying. So I assume we're getting Terminus this turn. Which, I would like to play this DelvUR, but I think it's better not to. We can just start slowly getting advantage out of this. So I think we're going to draw this Ponder, fetch, and then cast the Ponder. Because the Ponder is the only card I really want from this. It's another good spell for Dreadhorde. They take 1. So yeah, as you can see in Legacy, you have a lot of control over like the cards you draw. We are going to fetch a Volcanic Island here just in case we want double red eventually. Then we'll cast this Ponder. And I'm not really interested in any of these. So I'm going to just go ahead and shuffle. I drew a Pyromancer, so that's pretty good. I think again, we're just going to pass. Okay, so they didn't have a Terminus. Interesting. A Mentor. So we have the Bolt, which is really good for us here. So now they got no value off that Mentor. Yep, you can go ahead and Ponder. And as you see, this Dreadhorde's just going to keep gaining its card advantage now. They choose not to shuffle again. I'm deciding if I want to play this Pyromancer out or not. I think the answer is yes. Because we're going to be casting this Ponder. And we have a backup threat in DelvUR. It's just trying to eke out as much advantage as possible here. I would, in fact, like to Ponder. Trigger Pyromancer. I'm expecting a Terminus next turn. But they might have put a Swords on top, too. Ooh. So I like all of these cards, actually, except the land. But I want the Force first. Because the Force means we can counter the Terminus or Swords. So they take 1 down to 15. And then... do we play a land here? I don't think there's much reason to, but we do have 2 fetches. So I think we're going to. There's just not much reason not to. Okay. So it wasn't the Terminus. It was, in fact, the swords. So forcing here does essentially the same thing. It just keeps our threat count up. It does make us a little weaker to a Terminus, but I don't think they have the Terminus if they kept the swords on top. Okay, they have the Spell Pierce, which... yeah. That was... I think they realized that they made a mistake there. So they conceded, but, yeah, you really got to see the power of Dreadhorde Arcanist that game. Just eking out so much value. So again, on the draw, we don't like Dazes. Blood Moons aren't good in this matchup. Norod does nothing. Vapor Snags are bad. Surgicals are bad. Cage is meh. And we have 3 more cuts. I think we're gonna... We seen Mentor, though, this time. Does seeing Mentor mean we want to braid? Probably. But a braid's pretty dead otherwise. Maybe we'll just do the Coward split again. I'm a big fan of having at least one braid in our deck. Just to be able to find. But we are on 6 bolts plus Lavamancer. Nah, I think we're going to leave in the Preordain. It also just makes our Dreadhordes better. Yeah, I think we're going to run it like this. Everything seems pretty good. If you are worried about more Dreadhordes, ooh, this hand's really good. If Dreadhorde does pick up and we have to worry about it more, I could see making the Forked Bolt another Chain Lightning. I know that's been a thing in most lists online, but I really like the Forked Bolt for the DelvUR. I'd rather hold this fetch. We don't really have to expect any land destruction from them. Just stick our DelvUR and pass. Does he flip? He will flip. Okay. So now what's the plan? I think we're gonna play this fetch, attack for 3, and then probably Preordain. We have a lot of counter magic in our hands, so... I'm fine with this. If they're setting up a Terminus, we have a lot of counters for it. If they're digging for swords, we also have counters. And that means that they'll have a dead draw off the Brainstorm. So I'm fine. I'm fine with this Brainstorm here. I still want to Preordain. Because while the fetch for the Brainstorm matters, I think I really just like using this right now. Digging us deeper into our deck. I'm not really in for this Tarn, but I'm definitely in for another DelvUR. Although we're not going to play it this turn. I just want to hold up as much counter magic as possible. So we're going to attempt to force this, pitching this Brainstorm. I think it's probably our weakest card in hand. Oh, that was a mistake. Okay, luckily we're not getting punished by it. I should have Spell Pierced in response to their fetch. But I think it's actually fine because that means... that pretty much insinuates that they're going to be... casting something else. I was expecting Counterspell, but Veto makes a lot of sense too. So we'll let the stack resolve here. I would like to just play this True Name, but I actually like just Wastelanding them here. And just sitting behind this Delver currently. We can always play our other Delver if we need another threat. So they had the swords there, which is fine. Ooh. Pyromancer is a sweet draw if we draw our third land. Just play this other Delver and pass, though. My opponent fetches, meaning they probably have something. Maybe a Baby Teferi. A Narset. That's fine. We have the Lightning Bolt for it. I also just super don't care about this right now other than the fact that it's card advantage. Our opponent gets Teferi off it. Okay. That's good for us. We're going to play the young Pyromancer out here. Because our opponent has the Teferi that they're probably going to play. And I just really want to get them dead considering we have 2 bolts now. And this can also kill the Teferi if need be. Purge. Interesting. Haven't seen Purge played in Legacy. Okay, there's our third land. And it's gonna feel really bad if we get Terminist or Supreme Verdict. But I think I just want to go and try for this True Name here. Because we know our opponent has Teferi. And this just puts them dead next turn if that's their only spell that matters. Okay. So they force pitching Teferi. Interesting. Wonder what that means their last card in hand is. Maybe like a Jace or another Teferi. Council's Judgment. Okay. So we're in the old top deck battle again. But our opponent's at 8 and we have 2 lightning bolts. I'm not gonna fire him off because we might need him for like a mentor or something. Delver's a sick draw. I'm gonna play this fetch now because of the Delver fetch trick. Put a stop on my upkeep for that reason. Our opponent ponders away. And passes on back to us. Trigger our Delver. We will flip to Ponder, and I also won't fetch. We're going to go ahead and attack first. Just so that way we have more information about what we might want to ponder for. Snapcaster Mage. That stinks. We could have maybe found a Pyroblast. Or a Pierce. Yeah. Maybe we were supposed to ponder pre-combat there. Now I think we're just going to shuffle this away. We just need another threat now. Yikes. I'm not super worried about the Snapcaster Mage. So I think we're going to just let it, like, punch us a little bit. Didn't think about Snapcaster Mage, honestly. Because my thought was any removal spell I'm not going to be able to counter with, like, soft counter. More lands. Yikes. Again, I'm just going to basically ignore this Snapcaster Mage. I'm way ahead of this race, and eventually I'll just draw burn spells. Or more lands. Either one is an option to draw. Play this Tarn and pass. That's not a good sign. Brainstorm's super unfortunate. Means they get to shuffle away any bad cards. We just keep drawing lands too. This almost makes me wonder if we really should be on 19 lands. So I think we're going to let the click resolve. They're going to target us. And we're going to attempt to bolt both of their threats. Maybe this is incorrect. Like, maybe we're supposed to just, like, hold the bolts, or even potentially just bolt our opponent's face. Okay. Our opponent's still cantripping, which is a good sign. Yikes. That's not a cantrip. Okay, they put on bottom. So I think we don't fetch. Ooh, that's a good one. That right there is a good one. I'm going to play this land just in case my opponent has a Spell Pierce and I don't have to crack both of my fetches. Oh, they had Force blue card as their last two cards. Yikers. Okay. Really wish I would have bolted them now. Huh. obviously, who knows if this game would play out the same way if I didn't. Yeah, if they're going to brainstorm, I'll just F6. That's a good one off the top. Dreadhorde. Hit the F6 button. I had the sword. This game's looking pretty bad for us. But they found the first card advantage, and when we were in a top deck battle, their cantrips were there instead of us drawing lands. We're probably close to the same land count though, so. Man, yet another swords. If they jam another threat, I'll probably concede. But, like, they're still not doing anything. If they ever, like, Fate Seal me off fetch lands, I'll probably concede. But, like, right now, we could still potentially draw out of this. Okay, they put it on bottom, so I'm not going to fetch. Jace ults at 12. Here we're going to go ahead and fetch. Okay. This is like 99.100% not going to resolve, but we go for it. Yep, and as expected, it just gets countered. And I'm actually going to concede now that they put the Snapcaster into play, because we're not beating Jace plus the Snap at this point. So on to game 3. Game 3, I'm going to actually take out these forces and bring in these dazes, because we can actually be ahead on tempo against them. And I don't think we want to change any. Well, I think I'm actually going to take out these preordains and bring in a braids, since we've seen a lot of creatures. I think I like this. Yeah. I think we're going to try it like this game. But we do need a top deck better than them. No, I think we're going to just like not bring in a braids and keep in preordains the more I think about it. Yeah. If this hand had another land or something, I'd keep it, but not like this. Oof. Well, the old mulligan to 4 keep a pseudo no-lander is probably a death sentence. Yep. If our opponent does anything before we draw land, I'm gonna just concede. Because we're not gonna win. Kind of an unfortunate way to lose here. Especially if they just stick a Council's Judgment. Or not a Council's Judgment, if they played a counterbalance, I would have definitely conceded there. I mean, I guess we still technically have potential outs. I've thought about trying this card in my deck. Okay, we're dead. Congrats, opponent. We mulliganed a shit ton and lost, which happens in Magic. I know that's why like a lot of people like the London Mulligan, and I do and I don't. I'm just scared of it in older formats. Like, I think Reanimator probably goes up in popularity. And I agree that I just hope Wizards will actually keep an eye on bans. Because we're already getting scary with decks. This hand's fine. We have a lot of free counter magic. We would eventually like a red source, but we're fine right now. Our opponent's trying to decide if they want to keep, and they do. So we're going to lead Island Delver. And pass the turn. Our opponent leads Island Ponder. Sure. Might be another Miracles opponent. Miracles 3 times in a row is kind of surprising. But Miracles is a very popular deck. I prefer my little tempo creatures. I don't think we're going to brainstorm here because we want to brainstorm for another land. No flip. Gladly draw that Scolding Tarn though. Attack for 1. I'm going to play the Tarn and pass. Now, okay, so it's probably the mirror match. I think we're going to attempt to force pitching this Daze. I think the Brainstorm and True Name are probably more powerful here. Okay. Slightly punished for that play. Could have pitched like the Brainstorm and then we could have countered this, but again, I'm not huge on dazing cantrips, especially in what looks like the mirror. So if this Delver doesn't flip, I'm actually probably fine drawing whatever the Delver doesn't flip to. That's just another Ponder, essentially. So if we get this mountain, other than drawing a wasteland, we can flip our or we can True Name. And I think we're fine taking that risk, but I just don't want to get wastelanded out of the game. We might Brainstorm or Forked Bolt aggressively here, depending on what they do. Oh, this might be like a standstill deck. That's what it's looking like. Darn. Really unfortunate we didn't have that Daze, but it was hard to tell. A blue-red control-ish deck isn't as common as like a Delver deck. We'll gladly flip to this Chain Lightning. They're gonna know about it, but I'm fine with that. I'd rather use this Forked Bolt. Tarn. Is this a true name? Yikes. Well, we'll attempt to brainstorm with it on the stack. We unfortunately didn't find an answer to it, so that's going to be a yikes. But we do get to play our own, and we're ahead on life total, so that's a good sign. So yep, unfortunately, opponent, your true name resolves. But most likely so does ours. And we are ahead on the clock currently. Probably gonna brainstorm for potential force of will here. Yep, really regretting pitching that Daze, but again, I didn't know the matchup at all. The Brainstorm and True Name just seemed like inherently more powerful cards. Okay, the True Name did resolve, and their deck probably doesn't have a good answer to it, so that's good for us. Prismatic Vista from them. This card's been all over the place. Oh, they're Grixis. Interesting. So that means they might have Edict effect. They probably have Edict effects. Okay. Grixis control with Prismatic Vista. Huh. Typically... K-Command? Typically they play more duels than basics, so they would rather have the normal fetches, but it's an interesting take maybe. Yep. We'll discard this Preordain. We're still ahead currently, but this feels like it's setting up for an Edict. So hopefully we can find another creature. They are an essential 3, though. Yeah, this is a pretty easy shuffle. Ooh. Exactly what we wanted. Another creature and a good one at that. What do they have here? 3 mana. A Narset? Sure. Digging for something that can maybe get them out. Like maybe they have land Edict or land Bolt in hand, and they just need to find the other spell. They find Liliana's Triumph, so hopefully 3 of their 4 cards aren't land, Bolt, Liliana's Triumph. We're just going to sack the Dreadhorde. The True Name and the Chain Lightning do the same thing, except they just can't answer this now without something like Innocent Blood. We're just going to try to find another Bolt to end this game, I think. I'm even going to shuffle this away. Oh, I didn't even think about Narset. Whoops. Hopefully we still win. Okay. That play was so bad. I'm so sorry, chat. I didn't even think about Narset being in play. So because they're a Vista deck, I really don't like Blood Moon. Otherwise, I'd love Blood Moon against Grixis. Daze is very medium on the draw. Abrade seems medium. Null Rod is meh. Vapor Snag. I always like it because they're typically a Gurmag Angler deck. Blazing Volley doesn't do enough. Cage doesn't do enough. I almost just want to take out Force too. But they have True Names. And whatchamacallits? True Names and Narsets, which are troublesome permanents to deal with otherwise. I think this is one of those matchups where we can trim Preordain, though. Especially knowing that they have Narset. Oh, and we don't want Surgicals. So how do we feel about this? I think it's likely that they're like a Young Pyromancer Baleful Strix deck. So I think this Chain Lightning should probably just be a Blazing Volley. And otherwise, I think I like how everything looks. We didn't see anything that Vapor Snag's good against. But typically, maybe we'll just only have the one in. Yeah, I think I like that. Just in case they are a Gurmag Angler deck, we'll leave the one in. But we won't go too hard on it. If we see Gurmag Angler, though, we'll bring the second one in. Yeah, I think I like this. Again, normally against Grixis, I take both Force and Daze out. But I think we need Force of Will for True Name Nemesis and Narset. They're just very strong permanents. Our opponent keeps. This hand's kind of weak. We have the Brainstorm. I'm going to keep, but I'm not happy to keep this. Chain Lightning's an okay draw. We're just going to go Volk Pass. We'll probably go Volk Pass, Volk, Dreadhorde, and then have Force of Will up. Hopefully we don't have to use Force, though, because I really want to use this Brainstorm. Go for Dreadhorde and pass. If it wasn't for just wanting lands, I could see boarding out a Wasteland. But I think we want our land drops. Okay, Delver's sweet. Delver almost makes me want to wait on this Brainstorm. Like, we could just bolt, that's 7, and then play a Delver. I don't hate that. We're going to play this in case we have to Brainstorm, but yeah, I think we're going to Chain Lightning. Oh, this was so bad. Oh, this was so bad if they play a second Mountain. Oh, thank God. I thought I just punted so hard. If they had second Mountain and Chain Lightning us again, we would have gotten so blown out. Oh, that was almost so bad. I didn't even think about that when I brought the Chain Lightning back in. The Chain Lightning should definitely not be in our deck against the Prismatic Vista Grixis deck. Oh, that could have been so bad. Plague Engineer. I'm going to try to force that. I really want my Delver. Interesting that they're choosing Plague Engineer over just straight up Engineered Plague. If our opponent gets a mountain... Oh, they may have Fatal Push. Okay. Deal. Let me put a stop on my turn. I would like to flip Delver to Lightning Bolt. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can just shut off all their fetches. Sweet. We just won the match. That's awesome. So we're 3-1. We're going into our last round of Legacy with this deck. Our only loss was to Miracles, where we got into a top deck battle and they drew a couple more cantrips than we did. So I think Miracles is typically a favorable matchup. But again, every deck can lose. I really love this deck, though. When it was Pteramander Light Up the Stage, I thought the deck was fine. And like right before that, the deck felt fine to me. But I've always been considering maybe picking up another Legacy deck. But now with Dreadhorde, this deck just feels so good. Like, it just feels so powerful. Like, I'll admit, I have not even been playing optimally. And I've still been doing reasonably well with this deck. But at the same time, I think this deck does reward you for play. So while we're waiting, once again, I'm just going to hop on over to our giveaway and remind you guys that you have the opportunity to win a Sliver Queen this month. You just have to follow us. And if you would like extra entries, you can subscribe or donate to our Patreon. Alright, we lost the die roll this last one, but we'll see. We'll see what we can't make happen. Ooh. So, if it wasn't for the Ponder, this would probably be a mulligan. But because of Ponder, I think I'm going to go ahead and keep. We want an earlier threat, but True Name's very powerful. And we have Wasteland to also disrupt them. Depending on what land our opponent gets, I might even just Wasteland them turn 1. Just try to buy us time and maybe let us keep our fetch land for a Brainstorm. Our opponent's really in the tank on what to get with this fetch. That's interesting. It's an interesting thing to tank on. Okay. Tells me it might be the Mirror. Depending on what they do with this Ponder will really depend on if I Wasteland or not. If they shuffle, I'm probably going to Wasteland. They choose to shuffle, so I think we're going to go ahead and Wasteland. Again, it just gives us potentially more draws to something exactly like that, where we don't have to waste our fetch land on our Ponder. They had the other land, which is fine. They'll probably get a basic here. No, they go for another Volk. And they play their own Delver. Yep, so as expected, this is the Mirror. I would like to cantrip, but I'd also really like to just kill this Delver. So we're going to go for the Forked Bolt. Cool. It tells me they probably don't have any counter magic in hand. Which means we can set up for this True Name pretty easily. Little payback from our opponent, they say. Alright, we drew our third land again, though. So here, we're just going to go ahead and fetch an island and cast this Ponder, I think. Daze Force Misty. So if we take these, we're really just trying to set up for this True Name. We're not trying to land anything early. But I think I'm fine with that, because True Name really swings these mirror matches. So I think we're going to go like this. Draw the Force of Will, in case we need it. And then we'll have the Daze for next turn. And we'll have Daze Force for when we go to play True Name. Really wish we took the Daze here, but we're going to Force of Will that. And they force back. So, yikes, they have a Dreadhorde. I know this top card's a land. This feels super bad to do, but I really just need to find a removal spell. Dreadhorde is such a powerful card in this matchup that I'm like willing to brainstorm lock myself. Rutro Raggy? I think we put this Ponder, Fetchland Ponder, or Fetchland Preordain. I did that backwards. Fuck me. And I played my land for turn. Wow, that was horrible. Jesus Christ, Richie. I've been playing Moto so well today, too. And I just, like, totally throw that Ponder, or that Brainstorm right there. I arguably think, like, Ponder and Brainstorm are easier in paper, because you physically can, like, put them in the order you want. I should know how to do it with Moto, but I totally just screwed that up, guys. Again, I'm sorry. Oh, that was so bad. Because, like, now I really want this land for True Name, but I really need to bottom it. We just drew a Daze. Gosh, that was so bad. They bolt me. Yikes. Yep. Man, I played that. That was so bad on me. I'm sorry again. I wouldn't even cast this bolt if I were them. Yeah. Well, that plays. As they say in the industry, that plays. Of course, they rip land right off the top. They go for a Pyromancer, sure. Okay. I'm going to start with attempting a DelvUR. Then we'll go ahead and bolt this Pyromancer. They did have force. Interesting. So their last card in hand now is Dreadhorde. And they're going to get to just play it. These DelvUR mirrors are so swingy based off the cards you draw. Yeah. That's like one of the worst. That's like one of the worst draws we can have too. I can't attack. I gotta leave this back. And then just die, I guess. Super unfortunate sequencing of everything. Okay. That means we can counter the bolt at least if they attack with Dreadhorde. If I was them, I would have definitely attacked and bolted first. Oh, they just have a land. Sure. I wonder if I can get them. No, yeah, we're not winning this game. The mirror's really swingy. Alright, so on the play in the mirror, forces are bad, blood moons are bad. Days in a Braid is great. Norrod is meh. Norrod's just bad. Norrod's not even meh. I like Vapor Snag. I don't like Surgicals. I like all of our removal. Maybe we don't actually want... I like to take out Preordain. I like to take out Vapor Snags, I think. We have one more cut. I trim a Daze in this matchup. Daze is really good on the play, but like it also can just be like a meh top deck. So I think I want 3. I've opened myself up to trimming Daze in the mirror. Yeah. Pretty easy sideboarding. This hand's weak to our opponent's own wasteland, but we have one of the best cards on turn 1 in the mirror, so I'll keep. Lavamancer's so good in the mirror match. And we'll pass it on. Okay. So we actually have to turn the tides on them. We have to wasteland them. Ooh, never mind. Or we get to attack for 1 and play a Dreadhorde. Typically Daze, like, some people leave Daze in, but I think it's more common that Daze gets boarded out on the draw. Guess that's what I get for opening my mouth. I don't understand why people like Daze on the draw. It always like feels it feels so bad to me. Yet it like always works out for my opponent. So what do I know? Ooh, that's a good one. We're gonna go ahead and brainstorm here. Try to find a threat. Or 2. Put back this Volk. We're gonna put back Volk and Brainstorm because I like all the cards that are gonna be in my hand. I typically would like to keep the Brainstorm, but I'd rather just like get this Pyro into play. If they have another Daze, it's like whatever. Oh, I can't get a basic, duh. Dang. There's the other Daze. So that's 2 dazes. But our opponent's been pretty set back on tempo, but it just hasn't affected them much because we haven't really had much. Ooh. So this time I think we're going to try to draw land to play around days. We're just going to lead on DelvUR. I don't even think we're going to attack because I just want to be able to use Grim Lavamancer if I need to. They preordain. We do not flip DelvUR, but we do draw our 4th land, which will suffice. I think again we're just going to attack with DelvUR. Leave Grimmy Boy up. And go for the true name. I wonder what this could be. Oh, Pyroblast. That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, they've had like everything, so. But we have the threats, so we shall see. Here I'm going to just get the basic mountain. Actually, we're just going to get the Volk because it's like pretty much the same thing here. Shoot them for 2. They probably followed up with like their own DelvUR or Dreadhorde. Yep. DelvUR finally flips. And it flips to a card that I don't particularly care if our opponent knows we have. I'd rather hold the Bolt if possible, because Bolt is an instant and can go face. I'm gonna Wasteland here, because I'd rather try to keep my opponent off True Name Nemesis. I would like to use my mana, but I'd rather just like not play into another daze. I need to kill this. Wow, they have daze and force in. That's incredibly loose in the mirror, in my opinion. Like, I could see force, like, I can see one or another, especially on the draw. I sometimes have some forcibles in myself, but there's definitely no reason that they should have both in on the draw. Man, that's unfortunate, because it's going to, like, win them the game, too. I don't know. Maybe I am just thinking about the mirror wrong now. Now that, like, it has so many I win the game cards. But it still seems very loose to me. That would have been good last turn. Yeah, we're probably going to get buried by this Dreadhorde now. This card swings the mirror so much. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to talk to other Legacy players, but I know it's like almost never, like, I know I learned to definitely never keep daze and force in on the draw. I'm like, I've heard many debate on if Daze is correct on the draw or not. But Force, but definitely not both. I would not like to shuffle my library. Okay. Oh, okay. Never mind. Yeah. Please don't flip. Thank you. Dreadhorde Arcanist is just so absurd. My opponent's really tanking on that ponder. Sure. I mean, I like the Delver, but really gotta kill. On the bright side, they're out of cantrips now. Oh, JK. This Dreadhorde's just such an absurd Magic card. In the words of DJ Khaled, another one. Yeah, I think we're just like way too behind right now. I don't think we're going to be able to come back. Yeah. Unfortunate. We still 3-2'd though. The deck was a lot of fun and is definitely really good. I don't think I'd change a card. I really enjoy this 75. One thing I have thought about trying is a Haze of Rage over the Grim Lavamancer, but it's probably just too cute. But yeah. So before I go though, we're going to hop back over to here. And once again, tell you guys to check out momsbasementgames.tcgplayerpro.com. It's, again, the one-stop shop for any of your Magic needs. If you're watching on YouTube in the future, thank you. Check down in that description box below for everything I'm going to talk about. But also try to join us on our Twitch sometimes. Also, all of you guys watching on Twitch right now and in the YouTube in the future, make sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, at momsbasementmtg.com, or not .com, at momsbasementmtg, as well as all you guys watching on Twitch right now. Make sure to check out our YouTube channel for the best Legacy, Modern, Standard, Vintage, Pauper, and Commander content. On top of that, if you guys want to do me a favor, give me a follow on Twitter. My Twitter handle is at RichardTMTG, where you can find me talking about Magic, League of Legends, memes, and really just whatever comes to my mind. On top of that, follow Mom's Basement Games and also myself, Richie T2196 on Instagram. And with that, I think I'm going to bid you all a great night. Have a great night, y'all.